So far, we've talked about how constructs are complex. We've talked about how we can measure attitudes, knowledge, behavior, and results to assess employee outcomes. We've talked about the importance of surveys being reliable and valid. And we've talked about the importance of choosing a question type that aligns with your construct. The next thing we're going to talk about is writing questions that are easy to understand. Now, essentially, we want to avoid poorly worded questions. And once I introduce these to you, you will see them all the time on surveys. These are bad ways to write questions. Specifically, we want to make sure that our questions are not leading, that they're not negatively worded, and that they're not double-barreled. Leading questions imply an answer. That is, by reading the question, you know what the survey respondent wants, or sorry, the survey writer wants you to respond. An example of this is, when did you quit stealing from the office? Now, obviously, this is an exaggerated question. You probably wouldn't see this, but this forces you into an answer, right? If you say, oh, I never, then it's like, oh, you never quit stealing from the office, right? And so it's a question that's really impossible to answer. Another one like this that you would see would be something like, what do you love most about working with customers? You might hate working with customers, and it might not be anything you like most about it. And so by phrasing the question in that way, you're forcing people to answer in a way that's not in alignment with how they really think or feel. The next type of question you need to avoid is negative questions. Negative questions ask what you don't think, feel, or do. So again, you'll see these in surveys where it says, I do enjoy my job. You could rephrase that as, I do not enjoy my job. My job is satisfying. My job is not satisfying. I receive satisfaction from my job. I receive no satisfaction from my job. We call these negatively worded questions because they're phrased in the opposite way that they usually would be. The reason that we use these is to make sure that people are paying attention, so they don't just go and, like, you know, we've all taken a survey where we've just gone 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4 without even reading the questions. We don't want that. And so negatively worded questions are a way to make sure that people are paying attention. But really, the research shows that they're just confusing to people, that they tend to mix people up more than they do catch people who aren't paying attention. And so in general, it's just kind of best practice to avoid these types of questions. The next type of question you need to avoid is double-barreled questions. Double-barreled questions are when you have two questions in one. So for example, going back to these examples, I enjoy my job might be, I enjoy my job and my coworkers. You might love your job, hate your coworkers, hate your job, love your coworkers. That's really two questions in one. My job is satisfying. My job is satisfying and fun. It might be satisfying but not fun, or vice versa. I receive satisfaction from my job. I receive satisfaction and joy from my job. These are asking two questions in one. That's what we mean by double-barreled. So anytime you have and in your survey questions, you want to be thoughtful. Am I really asking about one thing, or do I need to split this up into two questions? Those are the type of questions you need to avoid: leading, negatively worded questions, and double-barreled questions.